human capital development, nutrition, agriculture, health, education, and promotion of digital trade. The administration has demonstrated commitment in addressing challenges in critical sectors. Vice President applauded Nigeria's partnership with the Islamic Development Bank, noting that both entities are based primarily on the country's national interest. Noting that the bank's programs in Nigeria aligns with the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu across different sectors.
And I want to commend you for your partnership with us, especially in the IDICE program, in the SAPZ programs. These are programs that are very dear to the hearts of the present administration, to the heart of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I will encourage you to continue this engagement, especially the first rollout of our halal strategy is coming on stream very soon, with a projected target of over $500 million.
So we have discussed the opportunities to enhance, inshallah, the programs that are already there in terms of economic diversification, supporting the digital economy, the IDICE program, agro-processing, human capital development, as well as the economic diversification through the industries. And we'll also be focusing on bringing more children back to school through the out-of-school children program, and also building the productivity enabling infrastructure, which is focused on increasing the connectivity, the regional corridors, the rural roads, as well as enhancing Nigeria's energy security.
The head of delegation said the bank is committed to scaling up its intervention through a holistic review of its country engagement framework, Nigeria, to prioritize key aspects of the agenda of President Tinubu, highlighting key broad strategic objectives of boosting recovery, tackling poverty and building resilience and driving green economic growth. To the National Assembly, the Senate has adopted a motion urging more military deployment to the northeast to address the resurgence of Boko Haram in the region. This was equal to a motion from the Senate Whip, Muhammad Tahir Munguno, and the 5 other senators from Borno and Yobe states. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The country is experiencing a resurgence of Boko Haram.
In the motion, Senator Munguno recalls recent security breaches across locations, including the attack of this week Monday and Tuesday in Marite and Gajaram.
That the state sect has resorted to planting improvised explosive devices, IEDs, in strategic areas, which when they explode always result in high casualties.
But we are calling on the security apparatus to maybe change the tactics or the plan.
Senate urges provision of modern technology to effectively tackle the upsurge. In another motion sponsored by the Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin, Senate adopted the call for the representation of local government areas and FCT area councils as the Federal Allocation Committee meetings to protect their interests.
The Supreme Court has also pronounced to the effect that paying the local government councils through the states or the federation has not worked. Therefore, justice demands that local government councils' allocations from the federation account should henceforth be paid directly to local government councils.
Communicate this resolution to the Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy as the Chairman of FAC for its urgent information and necessary action.
Senate has passed the bill to establish Nigeria Police University of Science and Technology in Ogun State and the Federal University of Agriculture in Kano State, also passed with the Southwest, South-South and North-Central Commission Acts amendment bills. This is to bring them in tandem with those of other development commissions. A bill seeking the establishment of Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies, Yaba, in Lagos State, sponsored by Senate Leader Okpeyemi Bamidele, passed second reading.
If Nigeria, as planned, should aim to become one of the world 20 leading economies of the world in this 21st century, we must be ready to adjust and position our educational institutions.
Meanwhile, Senators Adamu Aliru, representing Kebbi Central, Yaya Abdullahi of Kebbi North Senatorial District, and Garba Medoki from Kebbi South Senatorial Zone defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Their defection brings to 68 the number of APC senators in the Red Chamber. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has rejected the second reading of a bill seeking rotational presidency among the 6 geopolitical zones. The constitutional alteration bill sponsored by Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu, failed to scale the hurdle of second reading when it was put to a voice vote on the floor. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Edwin reports.
The House resumes consideration of constitutional alteration bills, and House Leader Julius Ihondure presents 7 of them for simultaneous consideration for second reading. Lawmakers pick interest on the bill seeking rotation of the office of president among the 6 geopolitical zones, with some argument that it will address perceived marginalization.
Especially the minority zones in the region, in Nigeria, which if the presidency of this nation and the vice presidency of this nation is allowed to be struggled in terms of election, they will not have a chance of getting to that climax.
The rotation should go down to the governorship in all the states. Mr. Speaker, I believe every zone of the country have people with capacity.
Even in this National Assembly, the speakership and the deputy speakership will zone. And if this is entrenched in the Constitution, it will bring justice.
Those opposed to the bill insist that it will be restrictive and promote sectionalism.
If that geopolitical zone has its own shot, the next one will wait for about 48 years. Regardless of the quality of people we'll have in that zone, this country will lose that opportunity of bringing people that will render public service for this country just because of regional affiliation.
In every political parties, there is an arrangement that North will do this term, the South will do this term. So I believe this is something that we must not put in our constitution.
Are we going to force parties to actually pick someone from each region? How many parties do we have?
Those support of the motion for 1 to 7 to progress to constitutional review, say aye. Those against, say nay. The nays have it.
That rejection also affects 6 other bills for second reading, including a bill seeking to strip INEC of powers to register political parties, and another bill to provide for Office of the State Auditors General for local governments and the FCT area councils. In order not to throw away the baby with the bathwater, the House takes a decision.
I move that we rescind that decision and the question be put per bill.
Let us rescind by tomorrow and take care of all this one after the other.
In a separate resolution, the House mandates its Committee on Basic Education to invite the management of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, to provide report on implementation of free and compulsory education for every child in Nigeria. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Edwin, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly, Nigeria is hosting 57 Euro-African countries for the first thematic meeting of the Rabat process, co-chaired by the Kingdom of Spain through the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. Ruth Aguele reports that the meeting seeks to explore ways of leveraging the potential of Nigerian youth by harnessing their skills for sustainable development.
With a growing demography of the youthful population, and as migration issues evolve, there is a need for Africa to look inwards and come up with homegrown solutions to stem the tide. So here, Nigeria set the stage for 57 Euro-African countries who have gathered for the Rabat process to deliberate on issues of migration that affects young people who are mostly caught in the web of the Japa syndrome. This high-level thematic meeting seeks to explore and harness opportunities for the youth through innovation, skills transfer, and diaspora engagement for sustainable development.
Over 60% of our population are under 25. These young men and women carry within them the promise of innovation, resilience, and leadership, and yet many remain on the margin of these opportunities. We are determined to change this.
Any country that is going to create an employment and good education, innovations for the young people must first create an enable environment for the young people to thrive. And that is what this administration is based on.
All these elements will be quintessential in persuading young generation to avoid risking their lives through irregular channels.
Respect for human rights and rule of law, including international law, protection of migrants, in particular the most vulnerable, against all forms of exploitation and trafficking.
So as we host this meeting here, we hope that we can truly put a stop to the issue of irregular migration and find practical solutions to safe pathways to regular migration.
For the National Commission of Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, it is a clarion call to nations to identify and share good practices in youth empowerment and innovative migration schemes. And as the dialogue continues, participating countries are expected to promote youth-focused migration initiatives. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has re-emphasized that President Bola Tinubu welcomes constructive criticism at all times, but will never allow himself to be distracted from doing what is right for Nigeria. He presented the president at the launch of a book titled Being True to Myself, an autobiography of former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, who is also the author. Saliu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
But since His Excellency the President is represented,
it was a stage of the high and mighty, mostly the political class from across political parties. On stage, on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the government spokesman who acknowledged the resilience of Nigerians that are keeping faith in the policies of the renewed hope government that is demonstrating impactful governance.
After a somewhat rocky start, owing to the toughness of the inevitable reforms that he has embarked upon, we are now entering an era of intended beneficial outcomes underlined by macroeconomic stability. Have there been some pains accompanying these efforts? Of course, yes. The President himself will be the first to agree, but he remains resolute in his commitment to introducing programs and policies to alleviate these pains and make life better for all Nigerians. Take the example of the tax laws, which will hopefully be signed any moment. This is intended to grow our revenues, not just for the federal government, but also for the subnationals, while also taking care not to impose additional burden on all taxpayers.
The president described the author and his intellectual property as a significant contribution to Nigeria's political literature and democratic discourse. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
And meanwhile, Being True to Myself, an autobiography of Sule Lamido, former Minister of Foreign Affairs and also former Governor of Jigawa State, has been unveiled to the public. Thimoto Yusuf reports that the unveiling ceremony held in Abuja was a gathering of both past and present political leaders in the country. His report.
Being True to Myself, authored by the former Governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Sule Lamido, unbundles actual political and other happenings in the country from the tail end of the Second Republic. As a passive spectator initially, and later an active and real participant in Nigeria's political evolutionary process, Sule Lamido publicly unveils this captivating autobiography.
Given his background, he pays special attention to the ordinary people, the Talakawa.
From former President Olusegun Obasanjo to former head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, represented by Professor Atahiru Jega, they believe that viewing from his antecedent, Sule Lamido can easily be excused for his bold and blunt truthfulness when it comes to speaking his mind on any given issue. President Olusegun Obasanjo discovered these attributes early in Sule Lamido and probably was one reason for the enormous confidence he had in him to make him Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister, besides writing a foreword to being true to myself.
Sule, I thanked you at that time, but on this occasion, again, I will thank you for the great job that you did.
It's good that people write so that we can learn a lot of experience.
Many here believe that Sule Lamido belongs in the radical political calling.
As the former governor of Jigawa State, is somebody we cherish and is somebody we respect.
I would like to appeal to the President for the table to close the chapter of June 12th. In his book, General Babangida revealed that Abiola won the election.
Being true to myself have a central role and say in all other political arrangements that culminated in the formation of the People's Democratic Party. Indeed, Sule was a founding member who has tenaciously stuck with the party to this day. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Moving to the judiciary now, the Federal High Court, Abuja, has adjourned to the 27th of June for judgment on the matter between Natasha Akpoti and the National Assembly. Presiding Judge Justice Binta Nyako fixed the date after parties adopted their final written addresses in the suit filed by Senator Natasha Akpoti, challenging her suspension by the Senate. The motions filed by the plaintiff include contempt of court order by the Senate, the process that led to her suspension, and equally asked the court to dismiss the motions of the defendants seeking to dismiss the case for lacking in merit, while the first, second and third defendants all urged the court to dismiss the suit on the grounds that it lacks merit and that it has also been overtaken by events, as well as that the court lacks the jurisdiction to hear the matter. You're watching the Network News. More reports when we return. Do stay with us. Thanks for being there. The Presidential Initiative on Unlocking Healthcare Value Chain, PIVAC, and the European Investment Bank, EIB, have initiated discussions on the allocation of €1 billion in funding support for the establishment of new health sector manufacturing entities and the expansion of existing ones. Appointed by President Bola Tinubu to oversee the effort under the supervision of the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pati, PIVAC National Coordinator Dr. Abdul Mukhtar laid out new investment opportunities to drive improvement in Nigeria's healthcare system. Head of the unit of the EU and EIB Office for Financial Inclusion expressed the EIB's readiness to support PIVAC in providing access to finance for manufacturers.
We just see us as we're on the same page. We are an enabler. We are not really. So whatever you need to do in there, just see us at the entry point. We have all this as part of our council in PIVAC. We have access to all the government agencies, to the president, to whatever. So we should be able, we can be able to do and implement also their project that we want to implement quickly. We can be
here, so that can really support access to finance and go and move along with you to support what you are doing, with also the tools and the means that we have in place. So very excited to be here in Nigeria as a sort of first country. I'm visiting in my role, my new role in charge of health for that.
And I've heard so much about the name PIVAC, so I come here with a lot of positive thoughts and things to deliver on. And now Nigeria is, I can say, one of our most important countries in this region, and I'm covering Nigeria market, so I'm very empowered by this responsibility.
In a bold step towards erasing borders in banking, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, NIB, says lighten the path for Nigerians abroad through the Non-Resident Bank Verification Number, or NRBVN. Musa Abaka reports that the future of diaspora banking was unveiled at a one-day symposium in Abuja.
It's not every day that banking symposium feels like a reunion. But here at the Transcorp Hilton Abuja, the energy is electric. Why? because the walls of traditional banking are tumbling, and in their place, a digital breach is rising for millions of Nigerians abroad. At the core of it all is the NRBVN, an innovation allowing non-resident Nigerians to securely enroll for a bank verification number from anywhere in the world. No embassy visits, no long queues, no borders.
Importantly, diasporans will also have the flexibility to fully repatriate the proceeds of their investments in accordance with existing regulations, ensuring confidence and convenience in managing their assets. Now,
this is a game changer for Nigerians in the diaspora. This is something they're all excited about and looking forward to with proper implementation.
With a few taps and a secure selfie, the diaspora can now step into the heart of Nigeria's financial ecosystem, ready to open accounts, invest, save, and send money home with greater confidence. For the CBN and NIBSS, this isn't just a policy, it's a promise that no Nigerian will be left behind, whether on the streets of Lagos or on the subways of London. In Abuja, Abubakar, NTA News.
And time to join Adiola in Lagos for stories making the rounds from that center. Good evening, Adiola. As for stories making the rounds.
A safe learning environment, no doubt, remains crucial for pupils and students' concentration and effective learning. How important, therefore, is safety in schools? Henkino John Adams will tell us about it.
Parents enroll their children and wards in school, hoping for a bright future for them. But when learning institutions become unsafe for students, teachers, and other workers, fear sets in, thereby affecting enrollment. This is a threat to achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is designed to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education, as well as promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. The Safe School initiative is aimed at addressing the problem of insecurity in learning institutions by creating safer learning environments through enhancing security measures in schools and host communities.
Any place where learning will take place must be very conducive. And what do we mean by being conducive? You have to talk about what is the kind of the structure that is in place? What is the seating arrangement? How available are the teachers?
If we make certain inquiries on the basic amenities and the safety precautions that have been put in place in a school, it should also inform where we put our children.
When schools, are in the position to look after children and they fail in their responsibility, there is that remedy against negligence. It is not right.
Stakeholders believe with the Safe School initiative focusing on creating secure and conducive learning environment, ensuring the well-being of students and teachers, and promoting the continuation of education, the number of out-of-school children will reduce greatly. In Lagos, Hinginu, John Adams, NTA News.
A leading multinational skincare company, BSDUF, manufacturers of Nivea men products, gave football fans in Lagos a treat with the live Nivea El Clasico match watch, which many fans described as a memorable experience. Olumide Guntola was part of the match watch.
The Nivea El Clasico match watch, which ended 4-3 in favor of Barcelona, lived up to expectations as fans were treated with the frills that often characterize the clash between two football giants, in this case, Real Madrid and Barcelona. Kylian Mbappe's hat-trick could not save his team from defeat as BSDUF, the manufacturers of Nivea Men, the official partner of Real Madrid, provided an ideal atmosphere for fans to watch the match.
Real Madrid is arguably the best football club in the whole world, and Nivea also the best skincare product in the world. So two of them coming together, two iconic brands, like I said, is like marriage made in heaven. So now that we have actually signed this 5-year agreement with Real Madrid, we want the Nigerian consumers also to feel the impact of this partnership by bringing games like this to them, and this is just a start.
El Clasico is more than just a football match. It's a representation of rivalry, energy, passion, commitment, and it aligns perfectly with the Nivea men persona. You're upwardly mobile and you love your personal care, then Nivea is a brand for you.
We have this special ingredient called the black carbon. The black carbon is an ingredient that penetrates into your skin to ensure that your skin absorbs all the moisture that it needs. We also have it in deodorants to ensure longer lasting fragrance.
And I am delighted, seeing the pure joy, seeing the pure passion in the faces of people, irrespective of the outcome of the match.
Former Super Eagles striker Austin Okocha and some fans believe Real Madrid will bounce back to victory.
I would say thank you to Nivea men for putting this together. It's been an incredible experience. I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Electronic gaming, among other side attractions, including pre-match, halftime, and post-match analysis, added glamour to the event. In Lagos, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Lagos. The Network News will be right back.
Many thanks for being there. Now let's join Benny to do some business. Benny?
Thank you, Olajide. And talking business, today the Naira dropped slightly against the dollar amid the resurgence of the dollar in the global financial market. Experts say the Naira's depreciation was driven by demand-side concerns, with individuals and businesses rushing to buy dollars to meet necessities and import obligations. However, recent fundamentals in Nigeria's oil industry paint a bright prospect for the Naira. This is as Nigeria's crude oil production reached a 2-month high in April, indicating that the continent's biggest oil producer made progress towards recovery, and that means more dollars for Nigeria. And now talking energy, Nigeria, Africa's leading oil producer, posted an average output of 1,486 million barrels per day last month, up from 1,401 million barrels per day in March. This is according to data released by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. And amid this, the Bonny Light is selling for $67 as of yesterday, an increase from the previous number of $46 as of 9th of May. And looking at gold at this time, gold prices rose on Tuesday on bargain hunting after a sharp loss in the previous day, while softer than expected inflation data from the U.S. also lent support. Spot gold rose 0.67% to close at $3,255, let's say $3,000, 255 cents per ounce, after falling as low as 3.207 on Monday, as U.S. gold futures also were up 0.81% to sell at 3,254. And looking at the market, Nigeria is on green today, which means the shares, stocks are doing well at this point in time. Well, this is it on business, Olajide.
Many thanks, Benny, and it was nice doing business with you, as usual. The Rural Electrification Agency has mobilized more renewable energy developers to sites to scale up interventions and increase access to electricity in rural communities. Joshua Ojito reports that the Phase 3 of the project will ensure deployment of more than 100 mini-grids.
In what industry players describe as successful interventions under Phase 1 and 2 of the Rural Electrification Fund projects, also known as REFCOR, the Phase 3 is set to commence.
As more players enter the field and innovation drives new benchmarks, we encourage you to put your best foot forward in every deployment.
More than 30 renewable energy developers commit to deploy more than 100 mini-grids and solar home systems to communities so as to increase access to electricity nationwide. A 1-year time frame to deliver the projects. The agreement also includes grants and sustainability plan for the projects.
Build a mini-grid. By our operational guidelines, it is meant to last at least 20 years, and you are tied to that project. So we need to let them know it is not business as usual. It is not an EPC contract. where you come, you finish, you collect your money, and you're gone. No, you are there. Anything goes wrong with that mini grid, that community complaints, is you. You are the first responder that will reach out to.
We are committed to making sure that we don't leave any stone unturned to make sure that the projects are delivered with quality.
With agreement signed and sealed, hope rises for many unserved and underserved communities as federal government closes energy gap. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And President Bola Tinubu extends warm felicitations to the Osun State Governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, on his 65th birthday. In a statement by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the president notes that the PDP governor has created a niche for himself as a politician of reckoning, not only in Osun State but also across the country and beyond, as a pan-Nigerian in his way of life and governance philosophy exemplified by his Yoruba and Igbo heritage. He prays for more years, good health and God's infinite mercies on Governor Adeleke, the Asiwaju of Ede Land, his hometown. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu felicitates with media mogul and chief executive of Biscam Communications, Prince BC Olatilo, as he marks 50 years in broadcasting. The president, in a statement, rejoices with the ace broadcaster whose influence extends to print, advertising, public relations, strategic and development communications, while congratulating him for the BC Olatilo show, which turns 25 years on the tube. The president affirms that the multi-talented broadcaster, President Tinubu, also congratulates BC Olatilo on his 71st birthday, prays that God Almighty will grant him longer life, good health and wisdom to keep serving the nation and humanity. And the Nigeria Police Force wishes to address a video currently circulating online depicting a police helicopter landing and taking off in an area with armed individuals. A police spokesperson, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, says that contrary to the misleading and false narrative suggesting that the aircraft was used to deliver food items to bandits, the force states that the video captures a legitimate security operation against criminal elements on Saturday, 10th May 2025 by joint security forces at the Obajana axis of Kogi State. Adejobi urges members of the public to disregard the unfounded and mischievous claims surrounding the viral video, as citizens are encouraged to rely solely on official police communication channels for accurate and verified information regarding security activities. Another break beckons. The news continues in a moment. Glad to know you're still there. And up next is Global Update with Kalo Mohammed.
Trump, who began the tour of the Middle East and Saudi Arabia, received a warm welcome from Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Riyadh. President Trump said he believes a love friendship exists between himself and Saudi Crown Prince, who committed a sum of $600 billion in a new Saudi investment in the U.S., even though Trump teased $1 trillion will have been better. President Trump's next stop on his tour of the Middle East is Qatar, and streets of Doha have been adorned with U.S. and Qatari flags ahead of the visit. The entourage is expected to round up the 4-day Middle East tour at the United Arab Emirates. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
Over now to Badi Adeleye for sports updates. Badi.
Many thanks, Olajide. Now, let's let you know that the Chinese embassy in Nigeria has expressed regrets over the visa challenges that prompted Nigeria to withdraw from the World Relays. During a diplomatic visit to the leadership of the National Sports Commission on Tuesday in Abuja, the cultural counselor of the Chinese embassy, Yang Jianqing, pledged China's commitments to the country's vision for sports development, assuring that there won't be a repeat of the ugly incident, just as he revealed they will be establishing a dedicated China-Nigeria sports communication channel.
Regret this happening. It was like traffic accident. Chinese side, as we are the diplomats of Chinese government. We really didn't hope this happened.
I'd like to have
as you said, a dedicated table in your embassy, and here, so that at any time we are having these issues, we can easily get it done and quickly resolved.
And if you notice the way we handled this issue with the world relays, either through the AFN or directly, it was proactiveness. We're not on the defensive, we're on the offensive, because we knew we had done the right things, and we were not going to wait for somebody to indict us for something that we had done right.
All right, let's turn our attention to football as Nigeria's under-20 coach Aliyu Zubairu says the Flying Eagles are fired up for the much-anticipated semi-final battle against South Africa's Amajita and the CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations on Thursday. Fresh off a dramatic 3-1 penalty shootout victory over holders Senegal after 120 grueling minutes, Nigeria are eyeing another big scalp and a place in the final as they face familiar rivals South Africa on Thursday. While the Flying Eagles impressed against Senegal, Coach Zubairu believes his boys could be set to play their best match at the tournament against the South Africans. That does it on Sports Tonight. Let's now return to Olajide.
Many thanks, Buddy. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has described the late Pa Edwin Clark as passionate advocate and a beacon of hope who believed in the unity, peace and progress of the country. The president, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, said this at the funeral of late Pa Edwin Clark. Susan Esu reports.
Here are the remains of a man who stood as a towering figure in the nation's political and social landscape, Pa Edwin Clark. His funeral was attended by dignitaries including President Bola Tinubu, who was represented by Secretary to Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume.
Clark was a beacon of courage. He stood unwaveringly for his beliefs and fearlessly confronted injustice.
He was an extraordinary human being, a pillar of our nation, an audacious voice for the voiceless.
I want to see up to 100 Pa Edwin Clark emerge from the Niger Delta region, because we're all his students.
Pa Clark stood for good governance. This was his overriding vision, passion, and focus in life.
Earlier, the Most Reverend Cyril Odutemo, Archbishop of Bendel Province Anglican Communion, in his homily lauded Pa Clark's virtues, calling him a champion of integrity. Pa Edwin Clark was born on May 25, 1927, from Kiabudo. Susan Esu, NTA News.
And up next is the weather forecast.
You're welcome. This is what we woke up to Tuesday morning with half of the southern part of the country under the influence of rain clouds. The atmosphere finally squeezed out ample rains, much concentrated to the coastal parts of the country. And this is what we're presently experiencing as at Tuesday afternoon. We see rain clouds springing up over the northern part of the country. And this is good. It shows that we have better prospects of rains come Wednesday. We expect thunderstorms to affect the coastal parts of the country and the central states. We expect these rains to reach up to the northern part, covering much of the northeastern part of the country and a better part of the northwestern part of the country, even though we expect less rains from the storms expected over the north than what we expect for the central states and the southern part of the country.
But that's it on the network news. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.